something that did not stop is the advance in technology. And something that also did not stop is this movement towards more electrification on mobility and electric cars and so forth. And I thought, I wanted to bring Jeff to let you know what Karma Automotive is doing, because Karma Automotive is a local manufacturer here in Southern California. But it's much more than just an automotive company. When you think of they just built a car, I think it's really a technology company, and they do a lot of interesting things. And that's what Jeff is going to tell us about. So thanks, Jeff Holland from Karma Automotive, to be here with us today. And I'll let you take over here and tell us about Karma and what's going on, and then the beautiful design. I had some insights on that. I drove it when I had a different nameplate earlier on, but that design is very striking. So Jeff, tell us more about Karma.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Happy holidays to everybody. I wish my Spanish was better. We actually got married in Cabo San Lucas about 10 years ago, and our dog's name is Cabo. We love Mexico and vacationing down there. It seems like I'd go through like a translator, Google Translate really quick before we go down there to try and learn at least the basics of it, and then forget it as soon as I come back home. So apologize for that. Thank you for having me. To your point, it has been a challenging year. I joined Karma in September, right around Labor Day, and they had a pretty challenging time because we do have our manufacturing facility, as I noted earlier, up in Moreno Valley, California. And because of COVID, since April, and because we are largely a hand-built, hand-assembled vehicle with social distancing and the masks and COVID and the outbreak happening, we weren't able to assemble too many vehicles this year. We don't do a whole lot traditionally anyway, but this was a really tough year for us. So we're looking forward to the vaccines coming out in 2021 with some good things. I want to, if I can share my screen, show a quick little brand video, put some movement in there so it's not just me talking the whole time, and then I've got a quick presentation after that. And so running you through the topics here, like I was talking about here, the GS6 series, our headquarters manufacturing based here in the US, market where we're headed, and our evolving brand and our customer profile. So can you see all that right now in the slide? Yes. Okay, cool. So where we've been, again, we've kind of had our ebbs and flows here since we transitioned from the Fisker bankruptcy, and our parent company in China called Wangzhong, which is China's largest or second largest parts manufacturer in China and closely in the world. So they bought us, or they bought the Fisker properties, plant facilities, and brought all that over here to Moreno Valley, where we set up our plant facilities in 2014. And we've been producing the Revero or Revero GT variants over the last 3 or 4 years in earnest after we got everything set up. We call it KIC. It's our innovation and customization center, because we don't just do our own vehicle production there. We've got about a 15,000 unit capacity there annually. And so we started to look into contract manufacturing and supplying our engineering and design services to other companies. We just signed our first deal with a company called Aero. And if you're a fan of the stock market here, or you play, you've probably seen Aero. Their stock has really taken off. They're kind of a last mile delivery company where they have smaller 3- and 4-wheel delivery vehicles. They kind of look like maintenance vehicles that you'd see on like golf courses, but they can configure them various ways. We're helping them because they needed capacity, and we're helping them both with engineering and with manufacturing efforts going forward for that. So that's our first foray. We expect some bigger announcements into next year, in addition to some of our own production announcements that I'll share with you as well. We like to say at KARMA, we're always EV, because we do have our extended range electric vehicle configuration, which is a series hybrid. So the way that the series hybrid works, kind of separate from a number of the different hybrids that are out right now, it uses a small generator, a 3-cylinder, 1.5 liter BMW turbocharged motor to power a generator, an onboard generator that is always charging the battery pack that we have that's in the car. So the vehicle and the 2 motors in the rear wheels are always running off battery electric power, so long as the generator is generating electricity to power the batteries. So it's a little bit of a unique configuration. I think we're one of only a couple that do it that way as a series hybrid. We just announced about a month ago our first ever all-electric vehicle, and we're calling that the GSE6. The GS6 will carry on as our extended range electric vehicle, and that will look exterior-wise almost identical to the existing Revero GT. The Revero GT design just came out about a year and a half ago. It was based on the original Fisker 1.0 Karma, but it's kind of a timeless design, and because we put all the work into the design and the tooling, we figured we'd carry that forward with this new GS6. What we will be announcing is a new pricing structure, and we announced the GSE6 at $79,900 as a suggested starting MSRP for deliveries next year, which is about half of what we transacted at over the last few years. Our transaction prices were running into the 160s, 170s, which made it largely an unobtainium type vehicle for a lot of people. So I'll get into that in a little bit down the presentation here as to why we did that. Our global dealer network, we've got 26 dealers here with 1 factory store in North America, mostly in the United States. We have about 6 or 7 in Europe right now. We just signed a dealer in Iceland, of all places. We've got 1 in South America, a couple in the Middle East, and none in China right now, although our parent company is there. We can't pass homologation with our extended range vehicle because of emissions, but once we have our all-electric vehicle, we expect to populate that pretty quick, because we have a pretty big advantage already being there, and we have some standing relationships, partnerships, equity stakes in companies like GAC and BAIC, who are very well-established automotive manufacturers and distributors over there in China. And then the last thing is...
Ya están ahí por ti, muy bien. Have fun, gordo.
Mute. And then our battery supplier with A123 Systems, and that's an existing relationship. As I mentioned, we're based here in Irvine, California. That's our headquarters on the left. And we also have a design studio, which is down in the basement of that building, and a couple images on the right where we design and do all of clay modeling and foam model and CAD CAM work with our design studio down there and our color and trim folks. A lot of people also don't know we've got our own US-based, California-based manufacturing facility. We call it KIK. You can see a few pictures. It's a 550,000 square foot facility with 15,000 unit capacity every year. It's got its own paint shop, which in California, as you may or may not know, is a big deal. Aluminum build shop. We do, again, hand craftsmanship, kind of a coach builder mentality there in assembling the vehicles that we have in our general assembly area. And we just received ISO 9001 or 14001 certification, which is a good thing to have for manufacturer, obviously. Some of the programs that we've done recently here, we talk about our eFlex platform and being able to sell that and market it to other types of companies, not just the smaller aero companies, but others, all the way up to truck and bus, using our extended range system, and possibly in the future, maybe some fuel cells that might take the place of our internal combustion engine that we have right now. Whether that's hydrogen or methane, we're still looking through that, but it's more than just a science project. It's actually stuff that we're working on and that we have expertise and experience in, and that's what a lot of startup companies can't say, that are kind of promoting the same types of vehicles and the same types of solutions for people. I mentioned our dealer network. That's our president, Dr. Lance, in the upper right, and our factory store in Newport Beach on the bottom right. But we'll have this footprint right now, or we currently have this footprint, but we'll be expanding that footprint by a couple hundred dealers in the next couple of years. So we have pretty aggressive bogeys to hit for our dealership network and expansion and production, and hopefully they work hand in hand to make us a much larger company in the years to come. Who is Karma? We talk about the joy of driving. We talk about emotion. We talk about peace of mind. We don't so much talk about, and there's a lot of tech in cars right now, and the big key buzzword in the industry, as you know, is autonomous driving. We probably will be offering that. We're working on our own in-house solutions along with other third-party companies to develop that, but we really don't want to take the driving experience out of the hands of purists and enthusiasts who actually enjoy doing that. Our car right now is more kind of like a grand touring type of a vehicle. It's a four-door saloon that's, you know, the wheels and the stance are kind of far apart from a wheelbase standpoint. It's planted. It's got 22-inch wheels. It's a gorgeous design. It looks fast standing still. And you can see a couple examples of, on the left, the Rivero/GS6. In the middle is our Pininfarina design that we collaborated with them last year on. And then our SC2 concept vehicle that we debuted at the Shanghai Auto Show last year as well. And again, we expect to take design cues. That was a vision model on the bottom right that we'll use as our future vehicle variant designs going forward. A couple other images of the joy of driving. There's Pacific Coast Highway on the left, and then we've got our infotainment system that we've been constantly upgrading. We've got things like internet radio. We've got a 7-speaker sound system that we've developed in-house with name audio, and just it's a kind of an engineering coup de grace on the inside. We talk about the ability to have over-the-cloud services and updates, artificial intelligence, like we talked about, a semi-smart digital cabin. We've got our Karma app that can give all your key features and options and things like if you race on a track, it can save that information for you. You can play it back later and kind of see how you did and improve on your times. Just fun stuff like that. But again, it's all kind of centered around the driver and the experience of driving and the joy of driving. So with our new price point that we talked about, we used to kind of inhabit that space up in the kind of new energy exotic. And so at that price point, $160,000, $175,000, we were competitive with or cross-shopped with Rolls-Royce and Bentley and Aston Martin and Maserati, some of those high-end luxury brands. But we had a little bit something different because we were electric. And so that's why we put us kind of in that left quadrant. What we want to do with the new price point is kind of move into this new energy premium space, which is still expensive. A $70,000, $80,000 car at transaction is still, you know, nothing to shake a stick at. It's not a Chevy Bolt or a Tesla Model 3 even. But we wanted to kind of move that way because we'll attract a much larger group of buyers. And then we're still kind of positioned in that area with Tesla and Lucid. And it was funny when we announced our price at $79,000, Lucid had come out with their Air that they said, I think was $72,000. And then they put some tax credits on it to bring it down to 60 something. And then Tesla immediately after that followed and put their price lower than the Lucid Air. So we may have to go a little bit lower than what we were thinking. But anyway, that's, it was kind of funny how that worked because it was all within the same week that we all had some new pricing announcements on the vehicles. Very similar vehicles. They're all kind of larger luxury type sedans with the Model S and the Lucid Air. Rivian, as you've seen, and Polestar, I think that's a good place to be with a vehicle. So as far as our Karma customer profile, you know, where we were was somebody who was, you know, shopping in the Panamera, the Vantage, BMW i8, or the Quattroporte. Maybe early, late 60s, very established, maybe the empty nester, but still maybe a senior executive, a CEO. Household income is in excess of $350,000. And his Karma vehicle was probably one of 6 or 7 or 8 of them that he had in his fleet of vehicles, and probably took it out of the garage once or twice a year to show off at the country club because he was probably the only one in his neighborhood that had one. So it was kind of unique and a unicorn. The new customer, we expect him to be a lot younger, or her, maybe cross-shopping with even some SUVs and trucks, maybe married with younger children, moving up to luxury from some place that he was, maybe kind of getting more established in his career, executive director, vice president level type person. And this vehicle would likely be his primary transportation. And so changing our mindset that way into the types of people that are going to be walking into our dealerships, which is an interesting change for us. And again, as we talked about the price range, going from a very small percentage of the market to a new addressable market size of about 250,000 vehicles, which represents 67% increase in our market opportunity. And we think that's just going to be leaps and bounds bigger than where we were before. And lastly, I think this is the last slide here, but the comparison and the share, and I think where the market is going between internal combustion vehicles to electric vehicles. I think you've seen every major manufacturer dedicating its resources, its future powertrain development resources into electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. And even Toyota working on hydrogen type applications. But the market's obviously going that way. It's not a secret anymore. I think with the new administration coming in, there's going to be a lot less barriers to entry into doing that, and a lot more funding to help spur that along. So these are the projections through 2026, and we continue to see that grow because everybody's kind of joined the party now. So.
Jeff, may I? Oh, sorry. I thought I was interrupting you, but that was the last chart. What's the source of that forecast that we show there about the trends?
Gosh, I'd have to look at the source. I was looking at that earlier this morning when I pulled it. It might be an Inside EV's study that they drew from IHS or somebody like that. But it was,
okay, makes sense.
I believe that's what it was.
Okay. I mean, and because I'm the first to ask, I'm going to ask a second question. Sure. What allowed KARMA to put the price down and to participate in that much more crowded part of the equation, which is around the 80s?
Yeah, a couple, 2, 3 big things. The bill of materials for us, it's been a big concentration area to reduce cost, has been a big focus for us. And then throughput. Demand, will follow. I think once you start producing more cars, I think somebody put it this way, if you sell, 1 pen, that might cost $10, but if you sell 10,000 pens, you can sell them for 35 cents. And it's like that with everything in commodities. So we expect to have a larger volume, and the larger volume will bring down the price cost. In addition to the cost of batteries, the battery cost has gone down significantly in the past 8 or 9 years since we established the company. So I think those 3 factors are major in being able to reduce the cost as significantly as we have.
Any figures that you can change about your forecast in production?
That I can share? Not today.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We will. We're working on that at the end of the year. Actually, there was a meeting this morning to talk through that. But yeah, we'll be publishing that fairly soon, probably after the first of the year, though.
Okay, big enough to allow you to put the price down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the magic formula.
You can use your own assumptions.
Yeah.
Since you have the eFlex platform, will we seeing some type of SUV coming up?
So we've previously announced a small crossover vehicle that may enter the portfolio here. We don't have the timing to share today. But yeah, obviously we're working on other platform proliferation using the eFlex and then the different variants. But I think the idea for us is to carry forward both types of propulsion or powertrain systems between the eRev and the battery electric that we'll be coming out with on the GSE6 next year. So look for more things to be announced with some timing around it fairly shortly.
I have a question. Since you're based in California, and we both are in California, and we know how the cost is extremely expensive, especially for this type of manufacturing. Is it still feasible to maintain this factory in this state?
Yep. I mean, obviously for us it is. There's a number of different incentives that the state provides to us, and I think again with the new administration coming in, we'll probably see some more help funding wise. There's different things that you can apply for and different things that you can do to make it the burden a little less burdensome, I guess. But yeah, it is a high cost state, but we're trying to do the right things to remain here and keep producing vehicles and have our headquarters here and everything else. So
is the truck and bus part of the business important? Because I can see that also being in California with so much of that sector, you know, the trucking side, the commercial vehicle, the school buses and all that, that it's going to be something that is really going to take off very
Yeah.
shortly here in the state. Is that part of, it's a big portion of that of your portfolio?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a big part of it. It depends on who we can partner with. And I know we've been talking with a couple fairly large fleet vendors that I can't say specifically who, but we did a couple proof of concept vehicles last year. We did one with a kind of the shuttle bus. You see like the airport shuttle bus van. That's a giant market, and you know, private companies own those. And some of them either want to retrofit their existing fleets that they have, which may be less expensive to do. And there's a number of incentives that they can get for going that route, or just ground up kind of greenfield producing a all new vehicle. Like I think Workhorse maybe has talked about, or Rivian, I think has had a couple of those. But yeah, I think that's a huge market, and it's something that that we're very interested in getting into for sure. And again, I think what vendors like, or what companies like this like, is they like that we've had experience doing this. We've been in business for nearly a decade. We've got a proven platform with over 1 million miles of test and validation on it in our fleet of you know, customer vehicles that we have, and we gather and are able to keep all that information and view it and make improvements on it. Some of the new companies coming along are, I'm sure, going to experience their own fits and starts and challenges because they haven't done it before in real world environments like we have. So that's why we've had such interest when we announced that eFlex program from companies raising their hands and saying, hey, we'd like to work with you guys because you've got this proven platform, you've got this proven. And I think they also like it because it is EREV. It's a hybrid. It's not just pure battery. It's got a battery or a gas backup. And as you saw the statistics, even though, you know, EVs are going to be increasing in volume every year, it's still, I think, going to be only 12 or 14% projected by 2026. So right now it's right around 3 or 4%, I believe, on the take rate for retail. So there's still going to be a big market for internal combustion, and I think our solution, using both kind of a smaller 3-cylinder generator, onboard generator that powers the battery system to make it an extended range, I think is for fleet customers, they like that option.
Is that 3-cylinder range extender turbocharged or naturally aspirated?
Yep, turbocharged, 1.5 liter, 3-cylinder. It's sourced from BMW. It's the same that they use in the BMW i8, actually.
Are you?
What would be the, well, I'm sorry.
No, are there more i8 components besides the engine?
You know, not that I know of. You know, we do our own inverters in-house, got our own battery system, our own motors. I don't believe there are, I mean, don't quote me on that, but I don't believe there are.
What would be the biggest challenge in terms of the brand for in this new environment due to COVID and overcrowded EV space?
Yeah, for us, it's just awareness. And, you know, we just went through another big round of hiring folks. We added a lot of people to our marketing and communications staff and social media. I think we just really need to get the word out. I think, you know, we had to pump the brakes a little bit, unfortunately, because of COVID with the plant and production facility. But I think we just need to create awareness in the marketplace. Everybody that sees the car that I have, the press fleet vehicle that I have and drive it around, I've got people taking pictures. I've got people catching up to me on the highway and pressing their nose up against the window, and kids and adults. Everybody that sees the car, it's a remarkable type of a vehicle from a design standpoint. Everybody thinks it's beautiful. So I think we just need to create the awareness that it's available and that they can go to a dealership in a local major metro area in 26 different places, or we can order it from the factory here in Newport and ship it out to them, and it's available to them. So we just need to do a better job of doing things like this, where we're talking to journalists and media groups and getting the word out on Karma.
And
As a manufacturer, what's your take on the California ban of internal combustion engines for?
Well, I think that's the way it's going. California traditionally has led the rest of the country in kind of forcing emissions rules. And, you know, being based in California, we support the governor's edict on that. And you know, as an electric vehicle maker, we'll have both. So if we need to actually lose the hybrid portion by 2035, I think we can comply and do that. And if it's just California where we sell the all-electric version of it, and other states, I think will probably follow suit. So we'll just have to keep monitoring that as it goes. And you know, we're got a big push to go into Europe. They're already basically there with a lot of their countries in forcing internal combustion motors out. China's got a big push in certain provinces there. So we expect to be both places with our vehicle entries. And again, they're a lot further ahead on that type of legislation than what we are even here. So.
I just wanted to clarify something. So if we say that you have and I think it's the GSE6 that is the electric vehicle, mm-hmm. But the other model, we can call it a hybrid?
You can call it a series hybrid. Sometimes they don't like the word just hybrid because they can compare it to other things. But I think if you call it a series hybrid, that's exactly what it is. I think when I first got here, I had never heard the term EREV, and everybody in KARMA was calling it an EREV. And I asked the question, like, what is an EREV? Like, it seems like I've never heard that before, but it's an extended range electric vehicle is technically what they call it. But it's I guess, technically a series hybrid where it uses the battery to power, or uses the motor or the engine to power the battery that powers the motors, is how it works.
Is the defunct Chevrolet Volt the most, like the best example of EREV other than the KARMA?
Yep. And I don't know, I think maybe Seat or somebody in Europe, Peugeot might have had one or still might have one. I'm not sure, but those are the only couple that I think I'm aware of.
Now, you mentioned the inverters. These are designed and produced by KARMA?
Yeah, they're designed and produced. We're on our third generation now. We've got a silicone, SiC, I think they call it, silicone inverter that even just in this new GS6 is able to increase our range by about 10 miles just by the work that we've done on our own inverter, which is just coming from that. Gosh, some of the first only went 10 miles on a charge. Now we can get that efficiency out of our inverters.
And you also commercialize all these other products that you make with other companies? Because I think the way I see it, I might be wrong, but I think one of the advantages I think of KARMA is that you really are not depending a lot on getting, the components to put the car together. And I think that's a big difference from other makers.
Yeah, obviously we do work with some of the major suppliers for, seats and leathers. In fact, leather, it's kind of an interesting story. We work with Bridge of Wear, which is a very high-end leather producer. They do Rolls-Royce and some of the other high-end marks, but there's a couple of videos that I've seen that's just the things that they do with how they produce the leathers and the tannins and things like that, in that is pretty spectacular. The other thing that we do too is we bought some reclaimed wood from California forest fires, from Northern California forest fires, which my wife thought was an interesting story, is that we actually went up to Northern California, our design staff were out picking out specific trees that they wanted to cut, and we use that as the wood accents on some of the interior trim pieces that we have. So it's a little bit unique, and she thought that was a kind of a great story.
Yeah, it is interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's different. But just some of the things that we kind of call KARMA-ness. And the design staff works very hard on that.
Hey, Jeff, this is Jaime. Can you hear me, guys? Sorry, I was a little late. I was taking the kid to class. Maybe you already touched this, but I want to ask you this, because every time I drive either a hybrid electric or a full electric vehicle, I get a lot of questions about warranty. What do you guys have to tackle that point?
The traditional battery warranty, I believe, is a standard 8-year battery warranty. And then I'd have to check on this. I should know what the warranty is. It's probably like a 336 with varying degrees, but don't quote me on that. I'll get that back out to you guys. I'm not positive on that.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's the, now that you mentioned the batteries, isn't that company also, or was founded here in California, A123 batteries?
I don't know the history on A123 other than I think they were General Motors' first battery supplier, had some kind of partnership or reverse equity share or something like that with them early on. And then our parent bought them as well.
Because if I recall, that was, I think, the first company that came out with a replacement battery for the Prius, I think, that they were offering.
That sounds right. I know they were one of the first pioneering electric vehicle battery companies. I don't know what happened to them. I think just competition from like LG Chem and some of the other ones kind of came out and maybe got some bigger contracts or something. But anything else?
Armando,
I have
questions?
I have one more question again, Jaime. You know, I'm in the East Coast on Jose Carlos. I understand that you guys are based in California. Is there a possibility we could get a unit maybe for a few hours with Prestige Imports, which I think they're handling your fleet, right? Or they're managing the sales for you guys?
It depends. What city are you in?
Miami.
Oh, you're down in Miami. Okay. I'd have to check on Miami. I know I was thinking New York. We just, we have a facility in Washington, D.C., and one in Albany, one in Manhattan. If that's who it is on the press fleet side of it, we have a couple press cars right now. Right now, start of production for the GS6 series is just starting right now. So I don't get my press fleet cars until early next year. Once I do that, I'll start populating the fleet. So yeah, we'll definitely get them out there.
Is there a possibility to talk to the guys?
I'm in Arizona. Is there a possibility to get a press car here in Arizona? I think you have a store here. Yes.
Yeah. We have Carrie Owens. Do you know Carrie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we'll get them. We'll filter them through her for West Coast stuff, and Chris Williams here in LA. But yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Would there be a chance to schedule an assembly line visit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as soon as COVID's over, we just had to shut down again. But as soon as COVID's over, we'll do that. So get your vaccine once they offer it to you, and we'll start scheduling.
Will do. Thanks.
Yeah, actually, Armando, that's one of the things that I wanted to follow up with Jeff, to put together, sort of a mini tour with a couple of, journalists, to take advantage of that day and make sure that we get the most, because I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, we could do a virtual tour too. I know it's not as sexy, but
we'll take it.
Yeah, we could do both.
Great. No, but I think also it's important, more than ask him what he could do for us. If you have something that we could do for you guys to help you now in this moment with the brand, we know it's difficult to go forward. And if you need something, you talk about who are your clients. You didn't say anything about Hispanics. Even everybody here is communicating. Most of us we communicate in Spanish for Hispanic people in US. And it will be great to understand, Jeff, if you have something that we could add value to your communication plan from the point of view of the Hispanics, or what do you need from our side? Maybe a piece of information about our audiences, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I know I've been at a few other OEMs. That was always a big focus. It's been challenging here because it's such a small company to have kind of specialties. But I know one of the big things is translations. We weren't translating any of our press releases here or in Europe, actually, which shocked me. It was all just in English. And so we're reworking our newsroom site such as it is. It's not very robust, and it doesn't have all the types of things that I would like to see that in that to cater to different audiences. So that's something that we're working on. Again, I've only been here for a couple months since September, so it's been this year kind of preparing for 2021 and getting things ready. And COVID has, forced our hand on, things that we wanted to do event-wise, and it's just been kind of a handcuff challenge on getting the word out. But I think just we're just trying to create general awareness. We want people to know that we're not number one, it's kind of like we're a Chinese company, or we're Fisker, or there's some confusion. Are we still around? Do we still make vehicles? I think just we need to do a better job internally of pushing out the word through marketing programs, through public relations, ride and drives, community events, all that kind of stuff. And I think where it's applicable, I think I would love to work with you guys in your different regions, whether that's Miami area or other areas that you service, and talk with people. If you've got ideas, I'm all ears. So if you have some good thoughts and some things that we can do to partner up together, I'd love to hear it.
Right.
Well, Ricardo, will we get Jeff's contact information so we can be in touch, or he will get our contact information?
Both. Both. The answer is yes to both questions.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And do you record this, Ricardo?
Yes.
Okay. Can we get a link copy, or can I get a link copy, I guess?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. We'd like to share it internally. We've done a couple, I think because we have a Chinese presence with the company, they've done a couple sponsorship golf tournaments here recently. So we like to kind of get into other areas as well from a diversity standpoint. So it would help to talk about internally for us. And this is good to know for our employees.
We have some information about the Hispanic market that we can share with you as well.
Yeah.
Ricardo can send you some. I mean, we have data that you probably could find somewhere else in researching, but we already put it all together, and I think it's nice to you to have it, and somehow in a conversation with marketing, communication, whatever, could be interesting that you have that clarity about how important is the Hispanic market also for the electric car industry, because they are over-indexed also in that particular segment.
Yeah, it'd be good to have. I know we've got, the Polk data and
yeah, you have good data.
Some of that stuff, but it's like to partner it up with things that you've done would be good, because they're more macro, I think, to a large degree. And
sometimes when you look at the macro, it sparks ideas. Especially anything that is, we believe that anything that is diversity, you have to really look at, regional markets and look at the macro. The big one, it gets kind of lost. And as you're here in California, so you know very well how big the Hispanic community is here. But in other places, sometimes people just don't see it. And because they don't see it, they look at the numbers and they might not seem real,
Yeah. And I think we're small enough to kind of react to something like that. And if there are, again, it's kind of a more affluent type luxury brand, but if there are events that we can pair together that kind of knocks off, 3 or 4 different types of segments that we can do over a few days, I think that would be the smart thing to do for us.
Jeff, will you be having, I'm sorry, I think I didn't grab this, but internationally, will you at one point have plans to be in Mexico? Because there's a big thing that right now, what is sold here has a lot of, we obviously have no borders. What we write, it goes all over, Latin America. So once we generate that interest, we can tell our readers, hey, they're coming, you will see them, especially like Mexico.
Yeah, it's been a big focus. I know we have most of them in the US. I think we have 3 or 4 sales points in Canada, and we have 1 in South America. I think it's outside of Rio de Janeiro. And we're looking to expand our footprint everywhere, not just, Europe's going to be a big focus early part of next year, and China eventually, but I think we need to also not lose sight that we're here in North America. That's where we're based. And the plan that I've seen from our dealer development and sales guys, it's a global plan. So it's not just limited to a couple different continents. It's Central America, it's South America, it's the Caribbean, it's Mexico. So we definitely have ambitions to do that.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I will send the contact information to all of you. That way you have it. And I will send you, if you don't mind, I will send all your guys' information to Jeff. So he will also have it with a quick recap. And as soon as, it'll probably be tomorrow that I send you this Jeff video, because I have to download it and so forth. Yeah. And sometimes I have to adjust the volume. But, within a couple of days, you'll have it.
Perfect. No, I appreciate it.
Okay, a quick question about the new designs. The new sedan by Pininfarina, that's called SC2, I believe. The one that they had in the Senate.
The Pininfarina was it was technically called Rivero GT by Pininfarina.
Okay.
the SC2 was a vision model concept. That's the two-door convertible.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Or going.
Who designed that?
We did in-house.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be kind of the design theme going forward. You might see a little Pininfarina-ness inside some of the bits and pieces, but for the most part, it'll be the SC2.
Great.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I want to thank you very much, everyone, for participating today. Thank you, Jeff, for putting this together.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you.
Definitely this conversation will continue, and we'll plan to do one more again, maybe in the first quarter or second quarter next year, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd love to be a part of it, and I'll tune in if I can.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Carlos, for organizing. Thank you, Jeff, for your time.
Happy holidays.
Christmas.